Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition here of Intuitive Angling. Thanks a lot for taking some time to watch the video. And today we're going to sort of pay a tribute to Forrest and Nina Wood. I think a lot of you guys may have heard that yesterday Nina Wood passed on, and Forrest, passed on about a year ago. So we lost two of the giants in the sport. I mean, a lot of people that are younger right now may not realize the contribution that they've made to the sport, and I'm going to sort of give you guys a little bit of history and let you know how they were responsible for me turning professional. If it wasn't for Forrest and Nina Wood, I wouldn't have been able to be a professional fisherman. So I'm going to tell you the story about that, and not just myself, but a lot of different guys. Real quick, I just wanted to remind you guys before we get started in the video. I talked last week about I'm going to be doing a 1 hour special intuitive angling tomorrow afternoon, and I've been wanting to do this for a while, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a 45-minute or an hour long seminar. I'm just going to get on the phone here and talk about things that are going to help you become a better angler from what I've learned over the past 50 years. I'm just going to give you a bunch of juice, just talk for a long time. If it goes across good, I'm going to do like these hour-long seminars once in a while on technique-specific stuff like jerk baits, jigs. So anyway, tune in tomorrow, this afternoon for that video. Hope to see you guys there. Okay, guys, Forrest and Nina Wood, man, I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but Forrest and Nina Wood probably had the biggest impact of any company out there getting professional bass fishing off the ground. They were really tight-knit with Bassmaster back in the late 70s and early 80s when Bassmaster was really beginning to take off. They were a major sponsor of not only Bass, but the Bassmaster Classic. They provided boats for the Classic for years. They began one of the first, companies to have a professional fishing team. And I remember back in the late 70s and early 80s, I wanted a Ranger boat so bad because I'd see Roland Martin fished out of a Ranger boat, Hank Parker, Basil Bacon, all my heroes were in Rangers, and I wanted a Ranger, except I couldn't afford one. I had my little $1,000 junky bass boat with my 50 horse on it, and I just thought it would be such a dream to be in a Ranger boat. So anyway, make a long story short, in 1984 I qualified for the Redman Regional, which is now the BFL, and I qualified for the All-American, which is now the BFL All-American, and that was at Lake Toho in Florida in 1984, and Shaw Grigsby won that tournament. And anyway, I had planned to start my first season. I was wanting to be a professional angler, and I was planning and working towards starting in 1985. Back then, the season started in the fall, so I was planning on starting my season in the fall of 1985, which I did. Worked all winter, saved up money from mowing grass and breaking leaves and washing cars, and I scraped together enough money to pay for those $600 entry fees for the 6 Bassmaster tournaments. So anyway, when I got back from that All-American, about a month later, out of the blue, I get a call from Nina Wood. And I'm like, I couldn't believe it, when I picked up the phone. He goes, "Randy, this is Nina Wood from Ranger Boats." And I didn't know she knew who I was. And she got talking. She goes, we watched you down there at the All-American, and we just want to know if you'd be interested in getting sponsored by Ranger Boats. And I'm like, my jaw like to drop the floor. So anyway, from that point on, from 1985 up until the 2000s, the late 2000s, Ranger Boats was one of my primary, financial sponsors that I had. And if it wouldn't been for Ranger Boats, I wouldn't have been able to stay in the sport, because having them support me financially early on in my career when I was broke and living in my mom and dad's basement when I was 21 years old, I just couldn't do it without them. So I owe a tremendous, debt of gratitude to Forrest and Nina Wood for taking that chance on me. And they did with a lot of other guys too, like Bernie Schultz and several other guys. Hank Parker, same with that. But the thing about that, guys, is what's happened. Forrest and Nina Wood, they were, in my opinion, what professional bass fishing was all about. They were down home country folks. It was about good old boys wanting to bass fish, and we have lost so much of that. And unfortunately, when Bass Pro Shop bought out Ranger Boats, that that whole tradition and that whole vibe and that whole energy just went away from Ranger boats. And actually, when Forrest and Nina sold the company, I think it was the late 1980s or early 1990s, it never was really the same, because back when I was working with Forrest and Nina, I remember I'd drive down there to Flippin, Arkansas, and Forrest would be in his office and Nina would come in there, and we'd talk in their office, and it was just a real personal, down home, like sitting down with grandma and grandpa talking. And you don't have that anymore, and I miss that tremendously. And so looking back at that, I just, I'm so fortunate to have a chance to meet them and our paths cross, because like I said, I don't think I'd be fishing professionally for my whole life if it wouldn't have been for them. I remember one funny story with this about Nina is in 1992 I got an invitation. Bassmaster magazine, and the communications department with Bass set me up with a men's fashion magazine to do an article called GQ Magazine. Some of you guys may have heard about this. This was like a high-end men's fashion magazine out of New York, and they wanted to do a story on professional bass fishing. So I was the featured person in this particular article. To make a long story short, the gist of the article that was me focused on the fact that I was really connected to nature, and I was this nature boy type of a thing, which I am. And the photographer for the magazine said, the best picture for this is we want to get you out in your bass boat, and we want you to pose nude against the backdrop of the lake and the sun going down to sort of like set the stage for this. And they go, this picture is, you won't even be able to tell it's you there. It'll be backlit. We'll just take a picture of you from behind with your arms crossed, standing in your boat with no clothes on. So being young and sort of wild back then, I said, well, sure, no problem. So anyway, they took this picture of me, and it turned out it wasn't backlit. They took the picture of me from behind, but it was like bright as day. And anyway, this magazine article came out, and it's like, that was back now, it wouldn't be that big of a deal because the sport's changed so much and people are more open-minded. But back then, people were very conservative in the sport, and you didn't do stuff like that. I mean, I had long hair, and that was a no-no. So anyway, I get a call from Nina Wood after this thing, and Nina was like, Randy, what were you thinking? Why did you do that? And it's like, I felt so bad because I felt that my mom was scolding me or something for doing that. But they stood by me even after that. But it was just sort of funny, Nina getting down on me for that a little bit. But anyway, guys, just wanted to pay a tribute to Forrest and Nina. They're definitely going to be missed. It's the end of a generation, losing those two right there for sure. Never heard anybody say a bad word about either one of them. So just wanted to do that little tribute, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll talk later.